who was a student of Hans Eysenck, who was the most highly cited psychologist that ever lived. And Jeffrey Gray and Jack Panksepp are both geniuses. Unfortunately, they're both they both are deceased. But their research and the research of all the people they drew on, because they were both familiar with thousands of papers and hundreds of researchers. Dopamine locks you onto the scent. So what it does is it's a chemical that's manifested in relationship to the pursuit of goals. Okay, so here's the issue. The more valuable the goal, the higher the quality of the motivational state associated with its pursuit. Now, man, you really want to know that, because I might say, well, aim high. And you might say, well, why? And I might say, well, because that's how you redeem the world from its suffering. It's like, well, that's not bad. That's not a bad start. But then I could say, well, there's nothing that you can possibly do that will be better for you from a motivational perspective. You know, like you don't want to set an impossible goal and continually fail. That's you have to be intelligent and canny about this. You have to set goals that, you know, you can successively approximate, but you're aiming high. And then what happens is that, you know, let's say you accomplish something, but it doesn't move you anywhere you care about. Well, then the net psychophysiological consequence of the accomplishment is going to be zero. But let's say you accomplish something small even, but it moves you towards something extremely valuable. Well, you're going to get a kick out of that. And that kick, that dopamine kick, that's going to bathe the neural processes that you use to attain that accomplishment in the fluid that rejuvenates and strengthens them. Literally, that's what happens, because dopamine doesn't just feel good. It reinforces the structures that produced it. So it's nourishing. It nourishes the you that you want to bring into existence. And so if you want to remain in stasis, then you can get your dopamine with alcohol and cocaine. But you'll pay for that, because for every heavenly experience you get that way, you'll get a counterbalancing hellish experience that will be of greater significance, generally speaking. It's a net negative game.
Well, or for a lot of the younger set, pornography and video games are the way that, and then video games, of course, specifically engineered as dopamine pellet dispensers. You know, they actually test these things out to make sure that the gradation of challenge and reward is enough to keep you hooked. But of course, it is an empty experience, because you can fool your dopamine system, but you can't fool your soul as to whether you're actually achieving anything in the world deep down.
Well, I'm a little bit more sanguine with regards to video games, because if the game is well structured, then there's a manner in which it's analogous to life. So I think you can pick up generalizable skills in the video game environment, especially if you're a socially isolated introvert. You know, I think that can be a way forward. But let's be clear about that. That doesn't mean that all you should be doing is playing video games, right? It means that you should make your pursuit of video games part of having a life, and you should use the video games to make you a more effective individual in the actual world. Now, pornography, well, I don't know if there's anything good that can be said about pornography. I think that it's pretty much an untrammeled social evil.